In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. And we got another episode of Guess What? Yes. Escape the legal matrix. And we got a hot topic tonight. Hot topic. You know what it is? You'll identify with this. You'll say you won't, but you will. It's about hypocrites. We're going to talk about how hypocritical most of us are and the world is. And it's true. We are. So let's dive into it. Where is our law firm mascot, Drake, the Labrador Retriever? He's in the other room. He's had a pretty wild day, so I guess he just wants to chill out in there. So we will start with Adam. At some point, he'll come in here, I'm sure, banging on the door. So let's talk about this thing about hypocrisy and hypocrites. Okay. And you're going to say, well, Bryce, why do you want to talk about that? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So here it goes. Oh, wait. First of all, hey, Bryce Prescott, producer of my podcast, Escape the Legal Matrix. Love you, brother. You do great work. And for you folks out there, you need a podcast. If you want to have freedom of speech and to get your message out, you need to reach out to Bryce Prescott. If you want information from me, just let me know. You can find him on every social media platform, especially on Instagram and TikTok and others. And he's got great content. So reach out to Bryce Prescott. He's my brother from a different mother, love him to death, and he's just fantastic at what he does. So getting back to the hypocrites and hypocrisy, I've been watching a lot often Senate hearings, okay? Especially when they, like the confirmation hearings or they have the oversight committees. And I got to tell you, in our country today, for any member of Congress or any member of the United States Senate that comprises the whole Congress, you know, the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, for you folks out there that don't understand government, look, they're a bunch of hypocrites. It's a clown circus. Seriously, it's a clown circus. I sit there and watch them like grill people from the current administration or in past years, you know, the opposing political party grilling the cabinet members or other officials of the opposing administration. And they just act like they're like totally innocent, never lie, never cheat, never steal, never commit a sin. And I got to tell you, I just sit there and it's popcorn and beer time, especially when I watch somebody who's being grilled just throw it right back in their face about how corrupt they are. And they back it up with facts, not with feelings, with facts. And then the person that's trying to grill them just sits there and tries to like ignore what they've done. I tell you, it's just the ultimate, again, beer and popcorn show. And it got me to thinking, especially in this legal matrix, some of you call the quote legal profession unquote. Okay. There's so much hypocrisy. There really is. I see it from members of the bench, lawyers, courthouse staffs. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. If Jesus came right now down into a courtroom and he put up this big screen and he could sit there and show everything that you ever thought or said in your head or in the dark or where the people weren't around, every single person in that courtroom, including me, would just fall to our knees in total shame and guilt. And don't say you wouldn't, because you know that you would. And I just sit there and I watch these clown circuses going on with our elected or appointed leaders in city, state, county, federal, you name it. And it's just laughable. Well, it's not laughable. It's actually sad to see how much corruption and insanity and delusion and deception that goes on. And the thing about it is a lot of these folks are lawyers. They're lawyers. They sit there and espouse all these ethics and honesty and truth and for the American people and blah, 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 blah. And they're such liars. It's like the Liars Club, man. It's what I call Potomac fever. You go up around the Washington, D.C. area, and as soon as you cross the line from truth to delusion to deception, lies, you're right there. The House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate, it's a house of cards up there. It's a house of cards. The foundation of truth in our country today is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low. People, we don't just lie to other people. We lie to ourselves. We are such hypocrites. We really are. We sit there and gossip and talk about other people. Hell, I've done it. Made me feel better too, but I shouldn't have done it. And I've said some things about some people sometimes. I wish I hadn't, but I did. I'm being truthful here. I have. I've said some bad things. I've said some bad words. I think I said them loud enough that they could probably hear me in Beijing. But I sat there this week and I was watching some of the U.S. senators grilling a certain person, and she just wasn't taking it. She wasn't having it. She wasn't putting up with it. And man, she just tossed the crap right back in their lap, right back in their face. And they look like they were stunned. They look like deers in the headlight with a 1,000-yard stare like, uh-oh. Or a suicide squirrel trying to cross the street, not knowing which direction to go, and you're swerving, and up too late, they now become part of the tire. So when I sit there and I look at our country and our world today, man, it's astounding. It's astounding how we like to puff ourselves up like we're the greatest thing since oatmeal raisin cookies, okay? And it's unreal. And I especially love it when I watch all like the Hollywood celebrities that get and pontificate all their knowledge about everything. And they get into the arena of the culture wars, all this stuff and all the legal quagmires of everything. Like you guys are barristers and Perry Mason and you're all Esquires. You're stupid too. And they are. They don't half the time or the majority of the time, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. And they're living their lives in total hypocrisy, but they're going to tell you how to live yours. I'm sorry. What kind of drugs do you do? How old is your girlfriend or boyfriend? And I'm sorry, what was it you were doing in the dark? And they sit there and espouse it. It just blows my mind. I'm just wondering if we have really in this country, is there like really just one honest person at all anymore? Are there any more people that are just living in truth? I mean, really, because I don't know. I'm just looking around and the well is kind of dry. When I come up to the well of truth and honesty, I'm like, hey, anybody in here? Any water in there? Nope. The cupboard be bare. So I just couldn't help it. I was just watching, yesterday, and I just was like, man, listen to these guys and girls. It's pathetic. I mean, they must think that we are just stupid. I mean, some people are stupid. I mean, it is kind of contagious, but they put on this show, and all the while, the world is just burning to the ground like a bonfire, like a big, like steaks on the Barbie, and you just like pour a bunch of, lighter fluid on it and just burn the whole steaks up, man. It's just unreal. So I'm going to ask you something. I mean, are you being a hypocrite? Where in your world are you being hypocritical? I mean, it's really a good question you got to ask. I mean, I was in court just the other day. I've been in court, nonstop, litigating cases. And some of my colleagues will come in there and just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and cite all this stuff. And I'm like, you're such a hypocrite. You're just and I'm going to call them out on it. I don't care. I really don't. I've been in this game too long. I don't want to hold it anymore. I just don't. I really do want to live my life in truth. And I just can't stand stupid. I just can't deal with it. If I hold it in, I'm gonna have a stroke. And I just can't. When somebody's being hypocritical, I'm sorry. I just gotta say something. When I'm being hypocritical, I want somebody to call me out too. And in my life, people have. I've had people call me out. I have. They said, hey man, look at your life. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because every sin's a sin. I mean, I think there are some sins worse than others. I mean, like murder is worse than lying, but they're both still sins. But, once you commit one sin or you violate one command, you've violated them all as far as God's concerned. And so, yeah, I think we really need to take a couple steps back and look in the mirror and go, man, am I living my life in truth or am I living in hypocrisy? I mean, I think, 2,000 years ago, I think that's why they were so pissed at Jesus. Really. I mean, again, you can believe whatever you want for your religion. I don't care. That's up to you. But I do believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and I do believe he's the Messiah, and I believe he said he is who he said he is and who he was. I mean, I do. I just do. And I think what happened 2,000 years ago, he just pissed off all the people there in present-day Israel, went in the temple and said, y'all are a bunch of hypocrites. That's what he did. He called them out on it and threatened their power, and they just didn't like it. They didn't like it. They didn't like being called out. You can't have a wife kick her to the side and have a side chick. Doesn't work that way. That's why they were trying to grill him down on about when is it okay to get divorced, and all the same thing with like the whole coin thing, like, who should we worship, Caesar well, they say, well, who's on the coin? Well, the face of Caesar was, well, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is God's. And they're like, uh-oh, this guy's smart. Well, hell yeah, he's smart. And really, he had the power to turn you into a rock. He just held back. I don't know if I would have held back. I don't know if I'd have held back. But he exposed people for being hypocrites. And he basically said, clean up your own act first before you start going to judge and condemn other people. And that's what we do, man. That's what we do when we live in hypocrisy. We sit there and we judge and condemn. But you know who we don't judge? We don't judge ourselves most of the time. We just don't. But when you get that conviction in you, and you will at some point if you're blessed, and you'll take that look in the mirror and you're like, you know what? I'm not living in truth. I'm a hypocrite. And it just doesn't feel good. I've gone to bed at night before, and I would tell you, I felt bad about some things I've said or done in my life or recently. And I do, man. It's painful. Sometimes I just can't sleep. I'm like, man, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. What the hell is wrong with me? What the hell was wrong with me? What was I thinking? I'm like, oh, hell, I wasn't thinking. Yeah, that can happen too, man. You can flip a switch and your brain just goes into like cruise mode, and silent, like a old hard drive computer that's like corrupted and just, you need to replace it. And so I think what we need to do is sometimes we need to get rid of the hypocrisy and replace it with truth. Because the minute you do that, you really see how screwed up your life is. I mean, it happened to me about 8 years ago, when I came to the crossroads of my life, and I'm like, man, my life sucks. And I'm like, that's because I suck, in the domains of body, being, balance, and business. I was just on cruise control, and I was living in hypocrisy. I must have been crazy and out of my mind. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And it took me a couple years, and I joined some really aggressive organizations to get out of what we call the pit and to get back into some semblance of sanity and truth in these domains of body, being, balance, and business. And it's still a battle every day. But the one thing I learned and the one thing that I know is that, hey, I was just being a hypocrite. I would sit there and go to court and I would argue all these cases about what the other side did and blah, all this other stuff, especially in family court. And I was thinking, oh, hell, man. I'm kind of projecting me on them. And I would go home and I'd be like, God, it's getting really harder to argue these cases, even though I represent my client, and I do. And I'm a good advocate. I am. I'm good at what I do. But sometimes I hate what I do. And you want to know why I hate it? Because I feel like a hypocrite. I do. I do. And that's why I'm so fed up with the legal profession. This is why we have escaped the legal matrix. This is why I'm working on this book. This is why I'm trying to tell you law students and you new lawyers. And for some of you that have been out there like, thinking something's wrong, something is wrong. The world is all screwed up. That's the conviction in you that's warning you and sounding the sirens that you're living in hypocrisy. And we all do it. Don't sit out there and listen to this and think you don't, because yes, you do. You do. We're all hypocrites, and it's something we need to fight against. I mean, when you think about it, Jesus didn't come to, save the righteous. He came to save the screwed up sinners, the screwed up people. He did. That's what he did. And people are like, well, you can't hang out with them people. They're like prostitutes and tax collectors. He's like, yeah, and you know what? You're a hypocrite. You're worse than they are. At least they're seeking truth. They're seeking something, and you are just blind, and your heart is just stone cold hard like a rock, and you're just not interested in anything about except getting ahead. And they got angry. They didn't like it. And you don't like it either when people call you out. But you know what? We need to be held accountable. This is why I joined some organizations over the years that held me accountable. They weren't taking no crap, man. They weren't listening to my bullshit. The minute I tried that, I got called out. It was ugly. It was really ugly. And I felt the pain. And then when you course correct, you don't feel the pain anymore. And sometimes there's going to be some pain when you stop your hypocrisy and you start living in truth, because you got to own up to what you did. And you may have to make some apologies. You may have to apologize to God. You probably should anyway. And you're going to have to apologize to your spouse or your fiance or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your sister, your brother, your parents. Who knows? Anybody. Even people that work for you. Because in this legal matrix, you young law students, lawyers, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to sit there and think you're on top of the world just because you can go spit out some fancy Latin terms in court and think you're the social justice warrior. But you know what? After a while, you're gonna change, and it may not be for the better. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to become a hypocrite. And if you don't recognize it and you don't admit it and you don't course correct, your life's going to go straight to hell. It's going to go to hell in a handbasket. It's going to suck. Your life is going to suck, like really bad. You're going to look in the mirror and go, my life sucks. And you know what? The mirror's going to go back and go, hell, sure does. And you suck too. So listen, it's not all doom and gloom. I've had a rough 2 weeks of litigation, so I'm a little bit punchy, but you know what? That's just the way I am. So here's the deal. Where in your world are you being a hypocrite? Where's the hypocrisy present? What can you do to get rid of it? It's a very difficult thing to do, but I'm going to tell you something. Take it from me. When you fight it, when you start to get rid of it, and you start to really eradicate it from your life, it's like eradicating a cancer, and you get better and you get healthier. All right. This has been another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix with yours truly, Bryce and I, coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, where every day men and women don the uniform, and they do what? Yeah, they wage war against enemies that would seek to take the freedoms away from us that we so often take for granted. Okay, Drake, my Labrador Retriever, our great law firm mascot, and old Ish here, we are out of here.